My husband slammed the bedroom door so hard the frame rattled. "Tell me the truth right now," he said, eyes sharp enough to cut. "Are you having an affair?" The question hit me like a punch. I didn't even breathe before my phone buzzed. My sister. "Your niece is just being dramatic. Lighten up," her text mocked, as if my marriage wasn't cracking open in front of me. Another notification. A post. My niece had uploaded a screenshot of fabricated messages, tagging my husband's family like she was proud of detonating a bomb. My husband stepped back from me like I was radioactive. "I need proof," he said quietly, deadly. "By tonight." His phone buzzed again, more rumors, escalating like wildfire. He didn't look at me. He just whispered, "If you can't prove everything she said is a lie, I'm gone." And then he walked away, leaving the door open like a warning. I tore through every drawer in the house, desperate for anything that could shut this nightmare down. Bank statements, call logs, work messages, none of it mattered. My husband barely glanced at the pile forming on the kitchen table. He just kept refreshing his phone, jaw grinding tighter with every new notification. Another rumor. Another comment. Another lie spreading like blood in water. My niece wasn't slowing down. She was accelerating. I opened our shared cloud account to pull location history. Locked. Password changed. I checked my email. Password reset attempts. Someone was actively trying to wipe out every trace of my digital life. My sister called, finally. She was laughing. "Calm down," she said. "She's a teenager. Everything is drama at that age." "She's destroying my marriage," I said through clenched teeth. "She's just emotional." "You're overreacting." And then she hung up on me. My husband walked into the room, holding his phone like it contained my sentence. "Your niece says she's coming over tonight," he said. "She has something to show me." My heart dropped. "Show you what?" He looked at me with a mixture of exhaustion and suspicion. "She didn't say." But she sounded confident. Confident. Of course she did. She'd manufactured the entire hellstorm. "I need time," I said. "I can prove I didn't do anything." "You have until she gets here," he replied. His voice wasn't angry anymore. It was worse, cold, resigned. "If she shows me something solid, I won't wait for midnight." That was when I tried reaching out to a friend, someone who might help pull phone records, something concrete. But the call didn't even ring. My number had been blocked. By who? I didn't know, but the timing was too perfect. I felt the air tighten around me. Then, a new notification lit up my husband's screen. His face drained of color. "It's her again," he whispered. I stepped closer, but he turned the screen away. "She says she's posting something tonight," he said. "Something that will expose everything." He looked straight into my trembling eyes. "And she wants everyone to see it." I didn't wait for her to arrive. I marched straight to my sister's house, and before I even reached the porch, my niece opened the door slowly, like she'd been expecting the knock. She smirked. "You're early. Why are you doing this?" I asked, forcing my voice not to shake. She didn't flinch, didn't blink. "Because it's fun watching everything fall apart." I felt the ground tilt. "You're ruining my life." "No," she said, leaning against the door frame with deliberate calm. "I'm just exposing it." "There's nothing to expose," I snapped. Behind her, my sister appeared, arms crossed, eyes filled with irritation, not concern. "Stop yelling at her. She said you threatened her." My breath caught. "What? I haven't." My niece cut me off, her voice suddenly soft and trembling. "She cornered me yesterday, said she'd make me regret everything." My sister's eyes sharpened. "Is that true?" "No," I shouted. "She's lying." But then I saw it, a faint smile flickering at the corner of my niece's mouth. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was enjoying it. "She's 17, my sister said, stepping protectively in front of her daughter. "She has no reason to lie." "Except that she told my husband she has new proof," I said. "What proof?" My niece's expression changed, tightening like she was holding in a secret too delicious to keep. "You'll see tonight." I moved toward her. "What did you make? What did you fake?" She leaned in close, her breath warm against my cheek. "This time, I'm not faking anything." My stomach twisted. "What does that mean?" Before she could answer, my sister shoved the door wider between us. "Leave. Now." My phone buzzed. My husband calling. My niece watched the screen light up, then whispered, almost gleefully, "You should answer. He's probably already doubting you again." I stepped back toward the street, pulse hammering. "Why are you doing this?" I asked one last time. My niece's eyes darkened, her voice dropping to a chilling whisper. "Because tonight, all your secrets end." Then she closed the door, leaving me on the porch with a cold wind cutting through my spine. By the time I got back home, my phone was vibrating non-stop. Calls, messages, notifications slamming into the screen like hail. I opened one, then another, and my throat went dry. The rumors weren't just spreading anymore, they were mutating. Strangers were commenting, coworkers were messaging, neighbors gossiping in group chats I didn't even know existed. Someone had sent my husband a message claiming they'd seen me with a man at a hotel. They even provided a room number. I felt the blood drain from my face. My husband stood in the living room reading every word in silence. The quiet was worse than shouting. His hands were shaking. "She's not stopping," I whispered. He didn't look up. "Someone else is helping her. She couldn't organize all this alone." My heart jolted. He was right. This was bigger than a bored teenager. Another notification popped up, a screenshot from a private group chat. 5 names I recognized. All students my niece hung around with. They were planning something called Phase 3. I scrolled. Photos. Captions. A timestamp. Phase 3. Tonight. Final drop. My breath hitched. "She's not acting alone." "I know," my husband said, voice cracking. "But why you? Why us?" I had no answer. I didn't even have guesses. Before I could respond, another message came through, an anonymous account. Just one line. "You can't stop what's coming." My hands shook as I held the phone. "They are threatening us now." My husband finally looked up, eyes hollow. "If there's something I don't know, tell me before she gets here." "There's nothing," I said. "I swear." But doubt was already eating at him. I scrolled further down the leaked chat, heart pounding, until a detail froze me in place. A folder name. Proof package, for Uncle's husband. Someone commented under it, "Upload tonight." Full destruction. My stomach twisted so violently I had to grab the counter. "What is it?" my husband asked. I turned the phone so he could see the folder name. He stared at it, then at me. "What exactly are they planning to upload?" I opened my mouth to answer, but the screen suddenly went black. Everything disappeared. The group chat. The screenshots. The proof. All deleted in an instant. For a moment, I just stared at the dead screen, my heartbeat thundering in my ears. Then the phone rebooted on its own, like someone had forced a remote wipe. When it lit again, every trace of the leaked chat was gone. Not archived. Not moved. Erased. My husband looked at me like he was seeing a stranger. "Why did the evidence disappear?" "I didn't do anything," I said, voice trembling. "Someone's deleting things from the outside." He swallowed hard but didn't answer. I rushed to my laptop. I tried logging into my email, locked. I tried opening my cloud storage, empty. I clicked into my message backups, wiped clean. File after file after file, corrupted, inaccessible, gone. It felt like someone was dismantling my life piece by piece, faster than I could understand what was happening. I wasn't just being framed. I was being digitally erased. My husband paced behind me. Every step sounded like a countdown. "You said you had proof. Now everything's gone." "I'll get something else," I said. "There must be copies somewhere." But my voice didn't even convince me. I pulled up my contacts, trying to call someone who might confirm my schedule from the night my niece claimed I was meeting a lover. The first number rang once, then went straight to voicemail. The next one didn't ring at all. The third said caller blocked. My hands began to shake. They are blocking people. They are shutting me out. My husband didn't respond. He just stared at the front window, the sky outside shifting into a dim, unsettling dusk. Then he stiffened. "Did you see that?" he whispered. I followed his gaze. Someone was moving along the side of our house, quick, low, a shadow slipping behind the hedge. I stepped closer to the glass, squinting through the dark. At first, I thought it was a stranger. But then the figure straightened, lifting a phone that glowed against her face. My niece. She was on our property. She was recording something. And when she saw me watching, She didn't run. She smiled. I rushed out the back door before my husband could stop me. The cold air stung my face as I crossed the yard, but my niece didn't move. She stood by the fence with her phone raised, filming me like she was documenting a crime scene. "What are you doing here?" I demanded. She tilted her head. "Collecting evidence." "There is no evidence," I said. "You're making all of this up." She lowered the phone just enough for me to see her expression. Calm, focused, hungry. "Not anymore." Before I could respond, movement flickered in the corner of my vision. My sister stepped out from behind the shed, arms crossed, expression cold. "She has every right to be here," she said. "We came to clear things up." "By sneaking into my yard." I shot back. "We knocked," she lied. "You didn't answer." My niece brushed past me, heading toward the back steps like she owned the place. I grabbed her arm. "No," I said. "You're not going inside." My sister instantly erupted. "Don't touch her. I'll call the cops." I let go, but my niece was already lifting her phone again, recording every second. She angled the camera toward the ground, toward something she had dropped near the steps. I crouched and picked it up. A torn piece of fabric. My fabric. From one of my blouses. "What is this?" I demanded. She shrugged. "Looks like something you left at your lover's place." My jaw dropped. "Are you insane? You planted this." She didn't deny it. She didn't even blink. Before I could speak again, my husband stepped onto the porch. He looked at me, then at the fabric, then at my niece. His face hardened. "She showed me something," he said quietly. "A video." My stomach twisted. "What video?" My niece turned the screen toward me and hit play. There I was, grainy, low light, talking to a man whose face was turned away. My voice distorted, manipulated. It looked real. Too real. "You faked this," I whispered. My niece leaned in close, eyes glittering with triumph. "Prove it." And she pressed stop. My husband replayed the video again, slower this time, as if the truth might reveal itself between the frames. My own distorted voice echoed from his phone, low and muffled, saying sentences I had never spoken. The more the clip looped, the more I felt my identity peeling away, replaced by the version my niece had created. I reached for the phone, but he pulled it back. "Don't touch it," he said, barely above a whisper. "She edited it," I said. "Look at the background. Look at the way my face glitches." But he wouldn't look at me. His eyes stayed locked on the screen like it held the final verdict. Inside the house, my niece wandered toward the kitchen, narrating every step into her recording phone. "She's getting aggressive," she whispered dramatically. "I'm scared." My blood boiled. "Stop filming," I snapped. She didn't. "You see," she said, turning to my husband. "She's losing control." My sister nodded solemnly, feeding the performance. "We just want to help." My breath shook as I followed my niece down the hallway. "Why are you doing this? What do you want?" She paused, turned, and smiled with a sweetness sharp enough to cut skin. "You keep assuming this is about what I want. Then who is it about?" I pressed. Her smile widened. "I'm not the only one who has a problem with you." Before I could ask who she meant, my husband called my name. I turned to him, hoping something had shifted. It hadn't. "I got another message," he said, holding out his phone. "Someone else says they've seen you with that man. They described your clothes, your car, the time." "That's impossible," I said instantly. "I wasn't anywhere near." "Then how do they know all that?" I opened my mouth, but no sound came. My niece watched, delighted, like she was waiting for the exact moment my knees would buckle. She leaned in, her voice a venomous whisper only I could hear. "Tonight's just the warm-up. The final drop will end everything." Her words slithered into my chest and settled there, heavy and cold. And for the first time, I realized she wasn't bluffing. I needed evidence. Immediately. Something solid enough to crush every lie before my niece released her final drop. So I locked myself in the office and began pulling every scrap of digital activity I could still access, bank logins, location pings, timestamps, anything she couldn't fake. But each file I opened flickered, glitched, or vanished seconds later. Someone was inside my accounts. Someone was destroying proof faster than I could gather it. My pulse throbbed in my ears as I tried a different approach. Screenshots, recorded screen captures, anything offline. But even then, a pop-up flashed across the monitor. Error. File cannot be saved. I froze. This wasn't incompetence. This was sabotage. Down the hallway, I heard my husband's voice, low, tense, speaking to someone on speakerphone. I couldn't make out the words, only the disappointment threading through each one. My chest tightened. He was losing faith piece by piece. I returned to my laptop, digging deeper. Finally, I found something, system logs showing unauthorized access from a device I didn't recognize. A device located frighteningly close. Inside the house. Before I could trace it further, my screen went black. My chair scraped backward as I stood. No, come on. I tapped keys. Nothing. I hit the power button. Nothing. Then I saw it. A shadow moved past the hallway. Too quiet, too quick. I stepped out of the office slowly. Honey. I called. No answer. The house was dim, the kind of dim that swallows sound. I moved toward the living room, but a soft creak behind me made my skin crawl. I spun around. Someone was standing halfway up the stairs, phone in hand, backlit by the faint glow of the landing light. Not my husband. Not my sister. Not a stranger. My niece's secret collaborator. They froze when they realized I could see them. Their eyes widened. Their grip on the phone slipped. Then they bolted up the stairs. Hey! I shouted, chasing after them. But halfway up, my foot hit something hard, a flash drive tumbling down the steps. It had fallen from their pocket. I grabbed it, breath shaking. If this drive contained what I thought it did, this could uncover everything. I clutched the flash drive so hard the plastic strained under my fingers. Upstairs, footsteps thundered as the collaborator sprinted down the hall, a door slammed. And then silence, thick, deliberate silence. Whoever they were, they weren't stupid. They knew I had something now. I hurried into the office, plugged the drive into my laptop, and prayed it would power on after the earlier sabotage. The screen flickered, then hummed to life. I opened the first file. Screenshots. Dozens of them. Group chats. Drafted rumors. Timelines. Lists of who would spread what and when. Notes about fabricating messages. A folder labeled voice filters. Another named argument clips to edit. My stomach turned. Then I opened the audio files. Spliced conversations, cut, rearranged, digitally warped into proof. My voice twisted into confessions I never made. This wasn't just harassment. This was a coordinated takedown. A shadow filled the doorway. My sister. Her expression drained when she saw the files on the screen. Give me the drive, she said, low and sharp. No, I replied. You knew about this. She stepped forward. You don't understand. Before she could finish, my niece appeared behind her, eyes wild, face flushed with panic. Mom, stop talking. I stood between them and the laptop. You did all this. Why? My niece shook her head fast, almost frantic. You don't get to expose me. You don't get to ruin. Ruin what? I demanded. Her gaze darted to my husband standing behind me now, silent, watching the entire scene unfold. Fear flickered across her face. She lunged for the desk. I grabbed the flash drive and stumbled back. Don't touch that, she screamed, voice cracking. My sister grabbed her arm, but my niece tore free, eyes burning with something far darker than teenage rebellion. If you show him anything, she hissed, I will ruin everything permanently. I stepped back, gripping the drive tighter. You already have, I said. My niece's throat bobbed. The mask slipped for a moment, panic, desperation, something unspoken. Then she ran. Not toward the door. Toward the kitchen. Toward something else she had planned. Something worse. I sprinted after her, the flash drive clutched in my fist, my pulse hammering loud enough to drown out everything else. She reached the kitchen first, yanked open a drawer, and grabbed her phone charger. No, not a charger. A cable. She plugged it into the wall, then into her phone, fingers flying as she tapped screen after screen. What are you doing? I demanded. She didn't look up. Fixing your mistake. My sister rushed in behind me, breath ragged. Sweetheart, stop, think. But my niece snapped. Don't tell me to think. If she uploads anything, I'm done. We're all done. My husband stepped into the doorway, blocking her escape. What exactly are you afraid she'll upload? She faltered. Just for a second. Then she hurled her phone onto the counter, screen up. Look. She's been stalking me. She's dangerous. She's trying to break our family apart. A video played. Me, in our living room, voice raised, leaning toward my niece. Except the angle was wrong. The audio was chopped. My words twisted into threats. My sister gasped. Oh my God. She edited this, I said, stepping closer. You know she did. My niece let out a bitter laugh. Can you prove it? Every time you say that, you never can. My husband's shoulders stiffened. Doubt crept in again, dangerously. I held up the flash drive. I have everything right here. Her eyes widened. Panic surged through her. She lunged, but this time, she wasn't fast enough. I slipped the drive into my pocket and stepped back. She froze. Her breathing spiraled into shallow gasps. You can't show anyone that. Why not? I pressed. What's on here that terrifies you this much? She looked at my husband, then at her mother. Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. If she shows you those files, I'll lose everything. My husband narrowed his eyes. Everything like what? My niece swallowed hard. That's none of your business, my sister snapped, grabbing her daughter's arm. We're leaving. But before they could move, my husband's phone buzzed. He read the message, face falling. It's the lawyer, he whispered. I'm meeting him in the morning. He looked at me, broken, uncertain. And after that, I'll decide. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my husband sitting across from that lawyer, hearing twisted versions of my life fed to him like truth. By sunrise, I was already at the dining table, organizing the files from the flash drive. Screenshots, audio fragments, timelines. Enough to prove everything, if I could present it before someone destroyed it all again. I plugged the drive into my laptop. Nothing loaded. A message blinked across the screen. File directory missing. My stomach lurched. I tried again. Same message. Again. Same message. Someone had wiped the drive overnight. No, I whispered. No, come on. I tried recovery software. It stalled. I tried accessing the hidden system logs. Blocked. Every pathway locked down. Someone had gotten into the house again. Or never left. My husband entered the room, already dressed, already distant. I'm heading to the meeting, he said. You can come if you want, but I need real proof today. I looked at the empty flash drive. I had it, I whispered. Someone erased it. He didn't answer. Didn't even sigh. He just grabbed his keys and left. Panic clawed up my throat. If the drive was gone, the only hope was one last backup. A physical binder I kept hidden, not digital, not hackable. I hadn't touched it in months, but I knew exactly where it was. I rushed to the hall closet, heart pounding, and shoved aside blankets until the metal lockbox appeared. I entered the code, threw open the lid. Empty. Completely empty. My knees nearly buckled. Then I heard it, footsteps rushing down the stairs. I spun around just in time to see my niece sprint past the hallway mirror, clutching something under her jacket. Paper edges stuck out, fluttering as she ran. The binder. She had it. Stop. I shouted, chasing her toward the front door. But she was fast, fueled by something feral. She yanked the door open and bolted outside. She wasn't running to hide it. She was running to destroy it. And if she did, my marriage would collapse before noon. I tore after her, the cold morning air slamming into my lungs as my niece sprinted across the yard with the binder pressed tight against her chest. She didn't look back, not once. She vaulted over the gate, stumbled, recovered, and kept running toward the small fire pit my husband and I rarely used. No. I shouted. Stop. But she'd already grabbed the lighter from the ash bucket, flicking the spark with trembling fingers. A shred of paper tore free from the binder, catching wind, spiraling upward like a white flag begging for mercy no one intended to give. She dropped to her knees and shoved the first handful of documents toward the flame. I lunged, grabbing her wrist before the pages ignited. The lighter clattered to the dirt. Let go, she screamed, twisting violently. You don't get to win. I'm not trying to win, I said, breathless. I'm trying to save my life. She jerked harder, knocking us both sideways. The binder burst open, papers scattering across the ground like a blizzard of truth. Half slid dangerously close to the smoldering fire pit. I scrambled, collecting them with shaking hands while she clawed at my arms, trying to pry them away. My sister's voice suddenly pierced the chaos. "Stop this. Both of you." She rushed toward us, but my niece shoved her back with a desperate, guttural cry. "Mom, don't. She can't have these, she can't." Her fear wasn't performance this time. It was real. And that terrified me more than anything else. I managed to gather half the papers and shove them into my coat. The rest were wrinkled, dirt-stained, but salvageable. My niece reached for them again, hysterical. "You don't understand," she shouted. "He'll find out. Everyone will." "Find out what?" I demanded. Footsteps crunched behind us. My husband. He stood at the edge of the yard, breath fogging in the cold, watching the scene unfold with a hollow expression. His phone was still to his ear. "I'm at the lawyer's office," he said, voice flat. "This is your last chance to tell me the truth." My niece froze. And for the first time, she looked genuinely destroyed. I didn't speak. I couldn't. My husband stood there, lawyer waiting on the other end of the line, and the world felt like it was balancing on a single breath. I pulled the half-ruined documents from my coat and held them out with trembling hands. "Please," I said. "Just look." He ended the call without responding. Inside, the house felt colder than outside. We sat around the dining table, me, my husband, my niece, my sister, papers spread out like wreckage after a storm. My fingers shook as I opened the first page, timestamps, call logs, alibis, things no one could fake. "This is real," I said. "This proves everything." My niece's eyes darted to the back door, measuring her chances of escape. My husband examined the documents, piece by piece. His expression didn't change. Didn't soften. Didn't crack. It was unreadable, and that terrified me more than anger ever could. When he finished, he looked up slowly. "This shows your locations," he said. "Your phone usage. Your transactions. But it still doesn't explain the videos. The messages. The witnesses." "I know," I said. "But someone helped her fabricate all of it. The files on that drive, before they were wiped." He raised a hand. "And where is that proof now?" I swallowed hard. "Gone. Someone erased it." My niece suddenly stood, chair scraping violently against the floor. "She's lying. She's twisting everything because she got caught." My sister grabbed her arm. "Sit down." But my niece jerked away and pointed at me, her voice cracking under the strain. "If she shows you what's left of that binder, I'll lose everything. Everything." My husband stared at her, eyes narrowing. "Lose what?" She froze. Her throat bobbed. Her palms trembled. The room tightened around her like a vice. "Tell me," he said, voice steady but terrifyingly quiet. "What exactly do you have to lose?" My niece's breath hitched. Her gaze darted between her mother and the exit. "I'm not saying anything," she whispered. My husband leaned back, expression sharp as glass. The lawyer's words echoed from earlier. "Why would your niece go this far unless she had something huge to gain?" And suddenly, everything shifted. My niece's breathing turned shallow, her shoulders curling inward as if the truth itself were pressing down on her spine. My husband didn't break eye contact. He didn't raise his voice. He simply repeated, "What did you have to gain?" She flinched. My sister moved instinctively, placing herself between her daughter and the question. "She's scared. This has gone too far. We should all calm down." "No," my husband said. "No more calming down. No more distractions. No more lies." My niece shook her head rapidly, tears gathering but not falling. She wasn't crying, she was calculating. "This wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. "You weren't supposed to see anything." She jabbed a trembling finger at me. She wasn't supposed to fight back. I leaned forward. Fight back against what? Her lips parted, but no words came out. The silence stretched, thick, electric. Then she broke. "I needed him to leave you," she screamed, voice cracking. "I needed him to leave you so my mom could finally be happy." The words hit the room like a physical blow. My sister froze. "What are you talking about?" My niece's face crumpled, not with shame, but with fury. You were always upset. You said Aunt had everything you should have had. You said her marriage was the life you were supposed to live. My sister's hand flew to her mouth. I didn't mean. My niece stepped back, trembling. I thought if he left her, he'd notice you. He'd see how good you are. I thought you'd finally stop crying at night. My husband stared at my sister, stunned. Is that true? She shook her head violently, tears spilling now. I never told her to do anything. I vented, yes. I said things I shouldn't have. But I never asked for this. My niece laughed, broken, bitter. You didn't have to ask. You said enough. She sank into the chair, burying her face in her hands. My sister collapsed beside her, sobbing, trying to pull her into an embrace the girl refused. My husband stood slowly, as if waking from a nightmare. He didn't touch me, didn't speak. He just walked out of the room. And the silence he left behind was unbearable. The front door closed behind my husband with a soft click that felt louder than every scream uttered that morning. I stood frozen at the dining table, surrounded by torn documents, shattered trust, and a niece whose breathing was still ragged with panic. My sister sobbed quietly beside her, repeating apologies that fell into the air like broken glass. But none of it mattered until my husband returned. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Neither of them looked at me. Neither of them dared to move. I gathered the remaining papers with steady hands, steadier than I felt, and slipped them back into the damaged binder. Whatever happened next, I needed to be ready. I needed to walk into the decision standing tall, not splintered. The doorknob turned. My heart stopped. My husband stepped inside, face pale but steady, as if he'd walked through fire and come out on the other side with something resolved. He didn't look at my niece. Didn't look at my sister. His eyes went straight to mine. Come with me, he said softly. We stepped outside onto the porch. The cold air cleared the last remnants of chaos buzzing in my ears. He took a long breath, hands tucked into his pockets. I listened, he said finally. I listened to everything she said. And I realized something. I waited. My heartbeat thumped against my ribs like it was begging for its own verdict. She lied, he continued. About everything that mattered. And you, through all of it, you never wavered. My eyes burned, but I refused to look away. I'm angry, he admitted. Not at you. At them. At myself for doubting you. He reached for my hand. I don't want a divorce. I just want the truth moving forward. From us. I nodded, unable to speak. Behind us, the door creaked. My niece watched from the hallway, eyes swollen, defeated. The war she waged had collapsed on top of her, leaving her small, shaken, and cornered by consequences she had never imagined. My husband squeezed my hand. We rebuild, he said. And for the first time in days, I believed we could.